My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Libras. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot, and for this evening, I'm going to be doing your general reading, your past, present, future, 9-card spread. I'm going to be using the regular tarot deck, clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw a vampire oracle, and finish off with 3 yes or no answers for thee. So let's get started with your reading. The general card is 3 of Cups, celebrating something. Okay. So let's look at the first row, which is also your past. You start off with, Temperance, Sagittarius energy, 2 of Swords reverse, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini energy, and then the 7 of Pentacles, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo energy as well. Aha. You know what I'm getting here? Is, you felt serene, calm, and balanced about some kind of decision that you've made, because normally with the 2 of Swords upright, it's kind of like, still kind of in the process of deciding something, right? But since it came in reverse, it's already knowing exactly which direction you're heading down towards, exactly which direction. But somehow, you do, or you felt, since it's past tense, still somewhere, kind of hesitant about something, because here's like the decision that you've made. Maybe, you decided to head off towards some kind of career, maybe some kind of offering, maybe anything that you pretty much decided upon, based off of the 2 of Swords in reversed, even though you did feel serene, at peace, balanced, and also confident in other ways. But yeah, sometimes it happens that, you've made a decision, but yet still, something is kind of holding you back, even though you pretty much just think, well, it's like, it could either be, now or never, or it could be, maybe I need to actually, we'll proceed and pursue this one voyage or quest or path in other ways, because otherwise, it's pretty much going to be this big missed opportunity in other ways as well. Yeah, I mean, that's, well, sometimes it happens, where you pretty much just think, okay, because I sort of actually, can resonate, with these cards when I look back at when I was still, a newborn vampire in that matter. Is the thing is, it's like, I also felt serene and balanced about thinking, okay, I'm going to have to get out of my coffin, stuff like that. But then once I actually, rose, in the evening and stuff like that, I also thought, what am I doing? I don't have a purpose right now. I don't have a goal. Well, right now, what am I supposed to do? What am I, how am I supposed to feed myself? How am I supposed to actually, feel confident and strong again? Well, the thing is, of course, we'll have to look at the clarification. But what happened with me is, it's like, I more or less eventually found my purpose in other ways. I mean, okay, we're opposite signs. I'm Aries, you're Libra. But it's still kind of, you could always still have Aries placements. But the thing what I just want to say is eventually, you'll find, your purpose again. You'll find the reason again. You'll find the motivation. And it's pretty much about how time just practically goes on. It's like how all this kind of force or your energy, it's kind of more or less is guiding and nudging you over towards, saying, okay, let's say that you just think, okay, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I still have to go to the grocery store. Yes, I know I have to do it, but I'm just hesitant about it as well, because, it's close to rush hour and stuff like that, right? But anyway, we'll head off towards current times. Okay, you start off with World reversed. I'm not allowed to show it, but it came in reverse. It's a fixed card. And then you get 8 of Cups. Okay, you're walking away from something, and here you find your motivation again. So like I just mentioned, before, is, it's like, maybe, it's like your world is being turned upside down because you actually know what you have to do. And that is exactly what happened with me as well, is my reality suddenly, just showed up, and I was like, whoa, my world is suddenly turned upside down. I just kind of, like, I don't know, I just felt incredibly out of it, and, for a very, very long time in many ways. But here it's kind of like, this kind of energy is actually guiding you to find your true calling, your motivation, your inspiration again. So the thing is maybe you have to kind of, or you had to kind of struggle, with having to proceed or pursue with something, whether it's even, taking a pointless college course because, you have to actually, get a certain amount to graduate, for example, or you actually have to, take up this, a volunteer work so you could clock in your hours for some kind of job or stuff like that. If you know that's going to be benefiting you in the end, then it's actually a very good thing that you're walking away from, or you're heading towards, this motivation. It's like, the energy is pushing you towards, well, your true calling again. Wow. And that is what I love, because a general card is definitely, something worth celebrating. So I personally always feel, even, the human even probably does it for himself as well. But what I've actually even noticed is that when you've overcome any kind of obstacle, anything that you really had so much hesitation or resentment for, where you pretty much even had to do something that you really thought, my goodness, I just don't know if I can handle it right now. Reward yourself and celebrate something, in the end, that you can pretty much look forward to. So then you can actually think, actually, it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Because if you're only just faced with nothing but, negativity and stuff like that, then it's going to make everything more difficult, harder to actually deal with it and stuff like that. So, but you know what? Here you are in the future. Justice. Fabulous. Nine of Swords, maybe a bit of, uncertainty, maybe some nightmares. But here you actually have the sense of inspiration and motivation again. So, to actually sum up this entire reading, or at least the first part of today's reading for my beautiful Libras, is that, it looks like that, yeah, you will find your true calling again. You will find your sense, your purpose, your confidence again. But yet somehow, it's like you could always just, sometimes it's like a graph going up and down, up and down. This is, you being in the up, point with justice, and then suddenly you hit the down point with nightmares and stuff like that. But it could also be, your worries about the future to think, well, what if it's not always going to be glamorous? It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's, sometimes you could even have a week's worth of, rain and thunderstorms and stuff like that, and then maybe a month later the sun might eventually shine again, right? So the thing is sometimes, these are kind of very valuable moments to actually, just kind of stay the course. And I think, I want this, but yeah, it's like, sometimes, your uncertainties, your lack of faith, your self-doubts could suddenly start creeping in on you. I mean, of course, I need to verify this. And then suddenly, here's your motivation and inspiration again. But mind you, on a bit of a negative note about the Knight of Swords, is that it's kind of a bit feeling rushed about something. And you don't want to feel rushed in any way. But anyway, we'll have to now do some clarification. Because for Temperance, you get the Moon. So, you felt incredibly calm, serene, at peace and balance regarding the Moon card. It's also a Pisces card. So I just, will realize that you knew exactly which direction. And this is kind of like maybe you're about to start a new job of some kind. And this is you thinking, okay, the day itself, or the night before, the day before, you feel serene, at peace and balance, saying, yes, I'm actually quite excited about this new voyage I'm going to be going down towards, regarding the Moon card. So I think that is usually a very good, mindset to have, is try to keep the optimism about it and think, actually, it's it'll be okay, it's, well, maybe, it could be, a bit of a nightmare in the end and stuff like that, but it's always good to kind of face something with a bit of hope and thinking, okay, and faith, and just say, okay, let's just try something, because with the Two of Swords reversed, you know exactly where you were heading down towards, and you got the world upright. So here you are pretty much thinking, okay, this is us. We headed down, we entered into this world, and we knew exactly what was going on, stuff like that. So, and that's usually about it. You head down this path, you know exactly which directions to take. You're in this world, or you have this world within you that, the world is practically your oyster in other ways. And this is something that is probably definitely worth celebrating as a general card. Because even though you might have a sense of hesitancy, maybe this is like the first week of your job and you just think, wow, was this it? This is what I did so much, prep work for, interviews for. I did so much, unnecessary, like, work or jobs or careers to finally be put into something like this. Well, then you get the Prince of Wands again, also known as the Knight of Wands. So I feel like that you're kind of overcoming, or you were actually overcoming, like this hesitancy, this self-doubt. You pretty much just like, okay, it's like, this is practically just our first week, let's just try something again. And, and as per usual, it's always good just to try something rather than, facing missed opportunities. Because regarding the world reversed, you get the Page of Cups, also known as the Daughter of Grails. So maybe here you are actually, now starting to actually wanting to manifest or create or open up this new chapter of this daydream of some kind, and then suddenly your world is being turned upside down. But it could also be some kind of offering from, like, maybe Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, of maybe somebody else's dream in other ways. But it could definitely be some kind of daydream that you would definitely want to start heading down towards in other ways. And maybe that is actually what you were already trying to manifest in the past, is that you had this very beautiful idea already. You were already heading down towards this beautiful career. You had so much motivation, even though you still had some sense of hesitancy. And that's kind of like, your sense of reality, even though the Page of Cups reversed is a sense of reality, but you don't need to have all of these specific cards, in any direction per se, to actually feel that way, right? So I just suddenly, will feel this, will have this sense that, you have this very beautiful idea, and here you are being presented with this kind of daydream. Your world is being turned upside down, because why would you be walking away from something, or what are you going to be heading down towards? Well, you have the Ace of Wands, so obviously, it's like, it could be, many, paths for you to choose from in other ways. But what I see here is, it's like with the Eight of Cups, you're walking away from something, and you're finally putting time and energy into something. So what I'm actually seeing here is maybe you only did like some kind of prep work, and now you're going to start manifesting, this daydream of yours in other ways, whatever it may be. And sometimes it happens, maybe you've suffered from setbacks in the past, but now you're trying to revive, this kind of daydream by thinking, okay, now we've gained some new insights, some experience, ideas and stuff like that. So, and yeah, now you're pretty much going to be walking towards, that Page of Cups, and you're going to finally be putting more time and energy into it. Because here you are fully, you have so much motivation, this drive, so much fiery passion within you, and then you get the second Justice. So here you are feeling incredibly confident, strong, because of this new voyage and quest you're heading down towards in other ways. And I am just beyond impressed if this, if this reading is going to resonate for you. Because the thing is it's like, it's always good to try out new things, but if something just didn't work out in the past, it's always good just to kind of think, okay, maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe, the moment, wasn't right. Maybe, I didn't have, enough energy to, to finish it, but now you're trying to, revive it and have some kind of resurrection moment, from this Page of Cups. Because in the future, Justice, and then you get the Lord of Knives also having a King of Swords. So I feel like that's, the future is going to have this major turnaround for you. And I just think, that's, I just find it so impressive and stuff like that, because I just think, nothing ventured is nothing gained. And it's also based off of how experience is pretty much going to give you so much, insight from positive experience to even negative experiences, because then you can actually learn from them. You can actually even understand it from different angles, so it could also expand and develop your mind even more. So now, and it could also be seen as like cautionary tales in other ways as well. But yet, I think the reason why you're worried and scared about the future is because you get the Tower, Aries energy, like I mentioned, even if you have Aries in your placements. So what I'm just kind of getting here is you're worried about this big change. And that's kind of the thing is, change is always scary because you just don't know what to expect from you. You don't know, what to actually, and that's the thing is, it's like how that saying goes, expect the unexpected. A lot of people, they tend to lean more towards all the negative, angles from anything, just hoping that eventually it might, turn positive. But it could also be how you might be having, second thoughts and, mixed feelings about this voyage or this new quest that you're heading down towards because of this big change that could, will potentially happen. But it could also, be you, feeling incredibly worried, because you actually maybe left this past quest and voyage, and now you're heading out towards something new, and then you're just probably worried about thinking, well, who's to say it's actually going to work this time, right? Because for the Knight of Swords, you do have this inspiration, you do have this drive within you, but you feel a little bit hasty because you get the Devil. So what I'm just kind of worried about, the only thing is I don't want to put unnecessary worry, especially if this reading doesn't resonate for you per se, is that, if you were to start rushing and stuff like that, you might eventually, be rushing towards, like maybe some kind of devil situation, because it's all about practically timing. So I'm just thinking that if you're worried about facing the devil or maybe your uncertainties and stuff like that, I would definitely, stick to this really excellent strategic plan. Because whatever you do right now will have an impact on your future. And the thing is, you know, if you have this passionate drive, you know, coming up real soon and you're putting a lot of time and energy into something, I would try to keep into the here and now as much as possible, because, well, to even be thinking about what's going to happen in a week or a month and stuff like that, we're not there yet to be experiencing it. So I would just try to maybe avoid feeling like you need to rush something, that you need to start sprinting like how this horse is pretty much just being yanked by its reins and thinking, oh goodness, you know, we need to head out here because we need to do this. And then suddenly you get hit with the devil. And the devil, you know, is also a complex deity in the sense it's pretty much on a positive note. Yeah, on a positive note, it's pretty much like your, you know, your secret desires, your forbidden fruit and stuff like that. But on a negative note is that you might eventually feel stuck. And also, yeah, just, you know, how your negative thoughts are going to start, you know, will, yeah, just, you know, will face you eventually and stuff like that. But it could also be you wanting to overcome and start, you know, facing, you know, your demons again in the future. So I feel like that is a bit more of an accurate, well, description from this combination, is that you want to overcome, well, your sense of fear in the future. Because special vampire card says Knight of Pentacles. So there's definitely something heading towards you slowly yet surely. And maybe this is an upcoming battle that you're going to have to be facing, well, some kind of a devil situation or your fears again. But I think you're going to, you know, do excellent, because the thing is it's about preparation is key to a successful outcome. But of course, you know, it's like you're never guaranteed anything. There's no guarantee for anything at all. But as long as you're you know, let's say 95% prepared, or 98%, or 99%, or even maybe even 100% prepared, you know, always just, you know, realize that you do have a good chance of winning something, but that there's always that tiny little bit of chance that something could always go wrong. But I feel like that as long as you pretty much put a lot of, you know, excellent good planning into this voyage in the future, that, you know, there's a real good chance that everything is going to work out in your favor. Because Oracle wants to say hunter, aggressor, tracker, provider. Is the thing is, you know, well, the hunter is the opposite of prey. So in order to avoid being seen as, you know, prey to the devil, is I would actually become the predator and maybe even become, you know, the match of the devil. So then you can defeat the devil in his or her or its own game in other ways. So then you pretty much know exactly how to combat, you know, this, you know, devil situation that could be taking place in your future. So, well, anyway, I'm going to finish off with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause this video and think about the questions you want answered. For number 1, Saboteur, you get no with Judgment reverse, and I'm not allowed to show it. For number 2, you get yes with the King of Pentacles upright. And for number 3, you get no again with the 5 of Wands. So at least you do get 1 yes, but you could always try to get something out of those other 2 as well. Anyway, sad but true, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for my Libras, Libra placements out in this world, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel if you're ever interested in more vampire, you know, guidance, support, knowledge, more Dracula and stuff like that. In a few days, I'm going back to love readings, so for now I'm just doing general and love. But I'm also open for personal readings. All you have to do is let me know in the comment section below that you want a personal reading from me, and I'll respond to you with my email. Other than that, I want to thank you so much for joining me in this wonderful, beautiful, calm evening. And as per usual, I'll take excellent good care of yourselves on so many ways.